Ambassador Zethkar had always prided himself on his ability to read lesser species. In his 3 centuries of diplomatic service to the hegemony, he had catalogued the behavioral patterns of over 200 civilizations. Yet as he stood in the pristine corridors of the human embassy on Kepler Station, he felt an unusual sense of unease. The humans were peculiar. They smiled constantly, offered refreshments to every visitor, and spoke in soft, measured tones about trade agreements and cultural exchanges. Their ambassador, a middle-aged woman named Sarah Chen, had the demeanor of a kindergarten teacher, patient, kind, and utterly unthreatening. "We're so grateful for this opportunity," Ambassador Chen said, pouring what humans called tea into delicate porcelain cups. "Earth has always valued peaceful cooperation above all else." Zethkar's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his species. These humans were even more naive than the Zentari, who at least had the sense to fortify their borders. According to hegemony intelligence, Earth maintained only a modest defense fleet, barely 1,000 ships scattered across their solar system. Their military budget was laughably small, most of their resources dedicated to something they called social programs and environmental restoration. Perfect prey. "Of course," Zethkar replied, his translator rendering his words in the humans' primitive language. "The hegemony also values peace. We look forward to mutual prosperity." What he didn't mention was that within 6 cycles, the hegemony's war fleets would arrive at Earth's doorstep. The humans would surrender without firing a shot, as most species did when faced with the hegemony's overwhelming force. Their planet would become another resource extraction site, their people relocated to labor colonies. It was almost too easy. 3 months later, Admiral Krextor reviewed the invasion plans aboard the dreadnought Dominion's Edge. The human homeworld hung before them like a blue-white jewel, utterly defenseless. Long-range scans confirmed what their intelligence had reported: a handful of orbital platforms, some patrol craft, nothing that could threaten even a single hegemony destroyer. "Begin the assault," Krextor commanded. The first wave of fighters screamed toward Earth's outer defenses. Then something extraordinary happened. Space around Earth exploded into activity. What the hegemony had mistaken for civilian infrastructure suddenly revealed its true nature. Asteroid mining stations unfolded weapon arrays that could crack moons. Merchant vessels dropped their camouflage to reveal warships bristling with exotic weaponry. The communication satellites that had seemed so numerous were actually automated defense platforms, now powering up systems that made hegemony sensors scream warnings. But that was only the beginning. From Earth's surface, launch sites that had been catalogued as space elevators and research facilities began disgorging ships. Not hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. The sky above Earth turned into a metallic cloud as humanity's true fleet emerged from hidden bays, underground silos, and oceanic bases that had been dismissed as marine biology stations. Admiral Krextor watched in horror as his tactical display updated. Enemy vessel count 50,000 and climbing, 75,000, 100,000. The numbers kept rising until his computer gave up and simply displayed, "Overwhelming force detected." "How is this possible?" he whispered. His intelligence officer, trembling, pulled up classified human communications they had intercepted. "Sir, it appears their peaceful activities were misrepresented. Their social programs included mandatory military service. Their environmental restoration projects were actually camouflaged military installations. Even their cultural exchanges were intelligence-gathering operations." On the main screen, a transmission from Earth cut through their communications. It was Ambassador Chen, but she looked different now. Gone was the soft, grandmotherly demeanor. Her eyes were steel, her voice sharp as a blade. "Attention hegemony forces. This is Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen, Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Force. You are in violation of Terran space. You have exactly 10 minutes to withdraw beyond the heliopause, or we will demonstrate why humanity spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of warfare before we ever left our cradle world." Krextor's communications officer looked up, confusion evident in his alien features. Admiral, our xenolinguists are confused by the translation. The humans appear to be claiming they spent 10,000 years fighting each other. The truth hit Krexter like a plasma bolt to the thorax. While the hegemony had been conquering primitive civilizations for the past millennium, humanity had been locked in constant warfare with itself. Every innovation, every technology, every doctrine had been forged in the crucible of endless human conflict. They hadn't developed spaceflight to explore. They had developed it to gain military advantages over their rivals. Their peaceful nature hadn't been naivety. It had been the exhausted wisdom of a species that had finally realized their true enemy wasn't each other. It was everyone else in the galaxy who might threaten their home. "Admiral," his tactical officer reported, voice cracking with panic. "The humans are moving to intercept. Their lead ships are... Sir, I've never seen technology like this. They're not just faster than us. They're making tactical decisions faster than our computers can process." On the screen, Ambassador, now Admiral, Chen smiled. It was not a kind smile. "You want to know what 10,000 years of constant warfare teaches a species, Krextor? It teaches us that peace is not the absence of war. Peace is what you have. When all your enemies are too afraid to fight you." The first salvo from the human fleet arrived 17 seconds later. It was precise, devastating, and utterly without mercy. The hegemony's mighty war fleet, which had conquered hundreds of worlds, was systematically dismantled in under an hour. Krextor, aboard one of the few ships allowed to limp away as a messenger, finally understood. The humans hadn't been weak. They had been patient. They had spent centuries preparing for this moment, building their defenses in plain sight while maintaining the perfect illusion of helplessness. As his battered vessel fled toward hegemony space, Krextor composed his final report. "Do not engage the humans. Do not threaten the humans. Do not even approach human space without explicit permission. They are not a civilization. They are a weapon system that achieved consciousness." Behind him, Earth continued its slow rotation, looking as peaceful as ever. But now Krextor knew the truth. Sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that smiles while it sharpens its claws.